He is 64 years old, but his biological age, according to tests, is in his 40s. He works out for 10 minutes a day, eats food most people wouldn't touch, and believes that most diseases we call aging are optional. His name is Dr. Mark Hyman, a physician, a best-selling author, a health disruptor, and depending on who you ask, a visionary or a quack. This is the story of how Dr. Mark Hyman rewired his health in his 30s, built a new model of medicine, and why millions of Americans now follow his advice, even as others criticize it harshly. Chapter 1. From Burnout to Biological Rebirth. Mark Hyman's journey to radical health transformation began in his early 30s when he was a thriving family physician in rural Idaho. On paper, he had it all: a respected practice, a growing young family, and a future full of promise. But behind the scenes, the reality was starkly different. He was working 80 to 100 hours a week, skipping meals, surviving on coffee, and stealing sleep whenever he could. Weekends meant catching up on charts and scrambling to make sense of lab results. Then came his year-long medical mission in China, a dream assignment turned nightmare. Exposed to industrial pollution and poorly regulated mercury levels, he returned home painfully ill. Yet for months, traditional tests came back inconclusive. He was misdiagnosed with everything from chronic fatigue syndrome to depression. During this period, he lost 20 pounds, felt his cognitive sharpness slipping, and watched his world shrink to hospital walls and prescription bottles. One night, unable to eat, he sat on the edge of the bed realizing, "I am treating others but I cannot fix my own body." That crisis was his wake-up call. He pored over obscure research papers on environmental toxins, gut inflammation, and the hidden power of nutrients. He experimented on himself, adjusting his diet, rebalancing his sleep, and testing detox protocols until he felt his energy return. Slowly, his lab work normalized, his mind cleared, and a new level of vitality emerged. He found answers not in pills, but in food, inflammation, metabolism, and daily choices. And what he discovered in those dark days became the foundation of everything he teaches today. Chapter 2. The Food Philosopher. Dr. Mark Hyman doesn't just believe food matters, he believes it is the single most powerful medicine we have. His core belief is this: food is not just fuel, it's information. It tells your genes how to behave, it tells your cells whether to repair or decay. Every bite you take is either healing you or harming you. And this idea that your daily meals are literally speaking to your biology is what sets him apart. In Hyman's eyes, the real epidemic in America isn't aging, it's inflammation. It's the result of what he calls the standard American diet, which includes ultra-processed foods, hidden sugars in everything from salad dressing to ketchup, and industrial seed oils that inflame your arteries. He doesn't just want people to eat better, he wants them to rewire their biology. His prescription? Eliminate added sugars and processed grains. Load up on fiber-rich, phytonutrient-dense vegetables. Eat clean proteins like grass-fed meat, pasture-raised eggs, wild-caught fish. Embrace healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, and avocados. But it goes deeper. Hyman argues that food is the biggest driver of aging because it directly impacts your mitochondria, your immune system, and your microbiome. When those systems are inflamed or underpowered, aging accelerates. That's why he refers to sugar as the new nicotine. It ages the brain, dulls metabolic flexibility, and triggers silent inflammation. He also coined a diet called veganism, a blend of paleo and vegan. The idea? You can combine the best of both worlds. Lots of plants, clean animal protein, and no processed junk. It's attracted fans and critics also, but we will get to that in a while. For now, his message is clear. If you want to reverse aging, don't chase hacks, start with your plate. Because to Hyman, the most powerful anti-aging drug in the world isn't a drug, it's a salad. And that idea, controversial or not, has changed millions of lives. Chapter 3. The daily routine that keeps him young. If food is the foundation, then Dr. Mark Hyman's daily routine is the scaffolding that keeps his body biologically young. Forget complex gadgets or 2-hour workouts. His day is built around consistency and simplicity, backed by decades of patient experience and self-experimentation. He typically wakes up before 6 a.m. while the world is still quiet. This is sacred time, no emails, no distractions. Instead, he starts with 10 minutes of mindfulness, breathwork or meditation to anchor his nervous system and shift out of fight or flight. Next, movement, but not in a gym rat kind of way. His workouts are short, intense, and intentional. A 10-minute strength session, a few minutes of high-intensity intervals, or even a long walk with breathwork if he is recovering. He believes in functional fitness, not aesthetics, because in his view, the most important muscles are the ones that keep you from falling at 90. Then comes the breakfast. His go-to? A nutrient-loaded green smoothie. Think kale, spinach, wild blueberries, half an avocado, a scoop of clean protein, nut butter, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. This isn't just fuel, it's a metabolic message to his body. Reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, and energize the mitochondria. From there, his day unfolds with intention. Meals are timed to match his circadian rhythm. Heavier meals earlier, lighter meals at night. He is big on early time restricted eating, usually finishing dinner before 6:30 p.m. to give his body a full overnight reset. Between meetings and podcast recordings, he stays hydrated with mineral-rich water and herbal teas, sprinkles in short walks or movement breaks, and prioritizes posture and breath awareness, knowing that even how we sit can affect our aging. In the evenings, he downshifts, lights are dimmed, screens go red or off. Sometimes, he steps into a sauna or uses cold exposure to trigger hormetic stress. He might stretch, journal, or read before bed, and he protects his sleep like his life depends on it. Because in his own words, it does. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep in a cold, pitch-dark room. No negotiations. What you won't find in his routine? Overcomplicated protocols. What matters to Hyman is consistency. Small wins stacked daily. Habits that support inflammation control, detoxification, metabolic resilience, and emotional regulation. That's the real secret to why his blood panels look a decade younger than most of his patients. It's not about perfection, it's about having a system that works with your biology, not against it. As Hyman says, you don't have to do everything, you just have to do something every day. Chapter 4th, The Harsh Critic of American Healthcare. Dr. Hyman isn't just reshaping personal health, he is taking on the entire US healthcare system. To him, the system isn't broken, it's doing exactly what it was built to do. Treat disease after it appears instead of preventing it in the first place. He calls it sick care, not health care. Most American doctors get less than 20 hours of nutrition training in medical school, and yet food is the root cause or solution for the majority of chronic diseases. That disconnect infuriates Hyman. He says we wait until people break, that we spend fortunes trying to fix them. Why not teach them how to not break in the first place? That's why he created the Ultra Wellness Center and later co-founded Function Health, a service that lets people test their biological aging, nutrient levels, hormone balance, inflammation, and more, not when they are sick, but to stay well. He wants every American to have access to real data about their health before symptoms appear, because by the time symptoms show up, the body is already in crisis mode, and he is not afraid to say it out loud. He has testified before Congress, served as an advisor to US presidents, and challenged the food industry, pharmaceutical giants, and even the US Department of Agriculture. He believes policy must shift from treating illness to promoting well-being at the root, and that starts with how we eat, sleep, and live each day. In his eyes, the real cure for America's health crisis won't come from a pill. It will come from the produce aisle, the kitchen, the dinner table, and the way we understand our own bodies. Chapter 5th, The Controversies. Of course, a voice this bold doesn't come without backlash. Dr. Mark Hyman is one of the world's leading voices in functional medicine, a model that looks for the underlying causes of disease rather than treating symptoms. But many in the medical establishment argue that it's vague, untested, and unscientific. They call it expensive, inaccessible, and heavily reliant on supplements. And Hyman, he does sell supplements, lots of them, on his website and through partnerships. Critics say it's a conflict of interest. They say he cherry-picks studies to back protocols and sometimes makes claims that outpace the science. His Pegan Diet, combining paleo and vegan principles, also raises eyebrows. While it emphasizes whole foods, it cuts out entire food groups like legumes and grains, which many dietitians say are beneficial and not harmful when eaten in moderation. And then there are the moments that spark the heat most. He once suggested a link between gluten and autism, a theory widely debunked. He edited a book with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that initially questioned vaccines. He has warned against fluoride in drinking water. To supporters, he is courageous for challenging mainstream narratives. To skeptics, he is reckless with public trust. But despite the controversy, his audience only grows. Why? Because he is asking questions millions of Americans are starting to ask. What if the healthcare system in which I have put so much faith isn't helping me live longer or better? Chapter 6. What you can learn from him. Whether you believe in every detail of his philosophy or not, Dr. Mark Hyman's core message is hard to ignore. You are not doomed by your genes, you are shaped by your choices. And that's the heart of it. He encourages people to eat more whole, unprocessed, nutrient-dense foods. Move daily even if it's just 10-minute walk. Reduce sugar and refined carbs that fuel chronic inflammation. Prioritize quality sleep and manage stress not just with apps but through daily physical practices like breathing, walking, and presence. Get curious about their lab numbers and their body signals. He's teaching people to stop outsourcing their health, to stop waiting for symptoms before acting, and to start thinking of longevity as a daily lifestyle, not a once-a-year checkup. Because as he often says, aging isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you can influence, and influence it through what we have, through food, movement, mindset, and education. He's built a temple for living longer and stronger. You don't need to follow everything he does. You don't need 20 supplements a day or a fancy sauna. But maybe you can swap your breakfast cereal for something with protein and color. Take a short walk after lunch. Drink water with minerals. Cut screens an hour before bed. Ask your doctor about inflammation, not just cholesterol. Because what Hyman represents isn't perfection, it's empowerment. He's not selling you youth, he's offering you agency. In a world where people feel lost in a sea of conflicting advice, he's handing you a compass. Eat real food, move often, sleep deeply, and pay attention to what your body is telling you. That message at its core is one of hope. It tells people who feel tired, broken, or afraid of aging, you are not done yet. There is still time to heal, there is still time to thrive. And if you start today, your body will thank you tomorrow. Dr. Mark Hyman is not perfect. He is controversial, ambitious, and unapologetically bold. But maybe that's why he matters. He reminds us that health isn't just about avoiding disease. It's about building a body and mind that can carry us powerfully into the future. He's not trying to sell the dream of eternal youth. He's showing us how to make daily decisions that slow the clock down and maybe even reverse it. He may be 64 on paper, but his biology, his energy, his message, still firing like someone half his age. If this video gave you some value or helped you in any way, hit subscribe to the Longevity Journey and share it with your loved ones. We cut through the noise to bring you science-backed stories and actionable secrets that actually matter for increasing your health and lifespan. Next, you can watch 5 lesser-known morning habits you can start from the next morning, which could add 10 extra years to your life. I will meet you there. Thanks for watching. Let's live long and live well together. See ya.